Hi, Senior High! Welcome to our first virtual lesson. I am Joanne Sulayaw, your teacher in reading and writing skills. In this session, I will teach you Module 1, focusing on the reading and thinking strategies across text types. There will be two lessons under this competency. First is techniques in selecting and organizing information. And second is pattern of development. In this session, I will discuss the first lesson, techniques in selecting and organizing information. Before we proceed, I encourage you to answer the pre-assessment below so we can move on to our topic. This assessment will test your prior knowledge about the topic to be presented in this session. Also, to check your participation, kindly comment down your complete name, grade and section, and the things you will learn from this session. Without your attendance means you did not watch and listen to the video, and your score in the assessment might be deducted by 5 points. Without further ado, let's start our lesson. Reading is a process of looking at a series of written symbols and getting meaning from them. In reading, we use different techniques to help us understand the words, phrases, sentences, or paragraphs which challenge our beliefs, inspires our imagination, and expands our understanding of the world. For us to understand the text, we need to improve our reading skills. There are many ways that we can use to help us become better readers. There are effective reading strategies that we can talk about throughout the session. First effective reading strategy is getting an overview of the text. Second is using context clues. Third is using connotation and denotation. Let's first talk about the first effective reading strategy, which is getting an overview of the text. Oftentimes, trying to get an overview of the text helps us to have a survey of what the text is all about. This can be done through previewing, skimming, and scanning. What is previewing? Previewing is a strategy that readers use to recall their prior knowledge and set a purpose for reading. Here, the readers take a quick look at the text before reading it, looking for various features and information that can help them when they return to read it later in full detail. On the other hand, skimming is reading quickly, horizontally, through the text to get a general understanding of the content and its usefulness by looking for the main points in the text, while scanning looks for specific details like names, dates, and facts. Again, previewing is reading the text quickly. Skimming is reading the text by finding the main points in general, and scanning is looking for specific details in the text. Again, the techniques in getting an overview of the text is by doing a preview, by doing a skim, and by doing a scan. The second technique or the second effective reading strategy that we can talk about is using the context clues. The use of context clues helps the reader to understand a difficult word even without looking at a dictionary. Context clues are hints found within a sentence, paragraph, or passage that the reader can use to understand the meanings of new or unfamiliar words. There are also some ways on how you will be able to understand the context in the sentence. First is by understanding the synonym. As the reader, you can discover the meaning of an unknown or unfamiliar word because it repeats an idea expressed in familiar words nearby. Synonyms are words with the same meaning. For example, take a look at this sentence. Melinda's pertinacity or stubbornness is the cause of most of her problems. In the sentence, the unfamiliar word is pertinacity. Also, in the same sentence, the unfamiliar word for pertinacity was already defined in the sentence. Pertinacity means stubbornness. If you would notice, the writer used or to provide a word that is easier to understand than pertinacity. Same goes in the next sentence. The plight of our marginalized countrymen is really an unfortunate situation. The unfamiliar word in this sentence is the word plight, wherein in the same sentence, plight was defined or synonymous to the phrase unfortunate situation. So we can say that the word plight means unfortunate situation. Another type of context clue that will help us understand an unfamiliar word is by using antonym. Antonym is another way to get the meaning of an unfamiliar term by looking for words that contrast the meaning of an unfamiliar word with the meaning of a familiar term. It means that you will understand an unfamiliar word by its opposite meaning that you can also find in the same sentence. Take a look at this first example. After the scandal, Rose Lily, who used to be a vociferous mother, doesn't talk much more. The unfamiliar word here is vociferous. In the same sentence, vociferous was actually defined by using an antonym. Vociferous means does not talk much more. Doesn't talk much more gives you a hint that vociferous means talking too much. Another good example here is in the sentence, instead of holding clandestine meetings, the board decided to do everything openly. The unfamiliar word here is clandestine. And in the same sentence, the word openly gives you a hint that the word clandestine means closely or privately. It means that instead of holding an open meeting or a public meeting, the board decided to do it in private or in a closed manner. Another way to understand an unfamiliar word is by finding the definition of the word or unfamiliar word in a sentence. At times, when you see an unknown word, the meaning of the term is explained or given in the same sentence. Take a look at this example sentence. Youthquake is Oxford Dictionary's word of the year in 2017, which means a significant cultural, political, or social change that occurs because of the actions or influence of young people. The word youthquake is the unfamiliar word in the sentence, and in the same manner was defined also in the same sentence. Same goes in the next sentence. We have the generation born after January 1st, 2020, which succeeds the Gen Z, is called the Gen C after the viral coronavirus. The unfamiliar term here is the term Gen C, which was actually defined as the generation born after January 1st, 2020. Another way to identify an unfamiliar word is by using example. Sometimes examples are used as clues that shed light to the meaning of the unfamiliar word. Take a look at this example sentence. Megalophobia is the fear of large objects like airplanes, ships, and towering buildings. In this sentence, the word megalophobia was defined as the fear of large objects. And aside from giving the definition, the writer of the sentence also gave examples for the reader to better understand it. So we can say that megalophobia is the fear of large objects like airplanes, ships, and towering buildings. And another sentence that we can take a look here is the dulcet tone of the cello piano, and violin are very pleasing to the ears. By the given examples like cello, piano, and violin, we can say that the word dulcet means or may mean that it is a musical instrument. So that is the first clue that we can determine out of the example given by the writer. Another effective reading strategy that we can use as a technique in selecting and organizing information is by using connotation and denotation. Another way to improve your understanding of a text is determining the various meanings of a word through denotation and connotation. Denotation refers to the literal or dictionary meaning of the word, while connotation is more suggestive. Connotation is the idea or feeling that the word invokes or suggests. Also, the word can either have a positive or negative interpretation. Or to simply say it, denotation is a definition that comes from a dictionary, while connotation is a meaning based on a given situation or maybe based on feelings, which may be positive or negative meaning. Take a look at these example sentences. The word that we are going to define here is the word blue. By using denotation, we have the sentence, "The clear blue sky is a wonderful sight to behold." The word blue here means color that resembles the sky or ocean. But by using connotation, the sentence, "I've been feeling blue since my best friend left and returned to the province." The word blue here means feeling sad. See, there are two sentences that use the same word, but the word may vary based on the given context. In the first sentence, the word blue was defined or was used as a color. And in the next sentence, the word blue is defined as feeling sad. If you are going to use the denotation, you will simply use the dictionary meaning of the sentence. But if you are going to use connotation, the meaning of a word may vary depending on the situation of the context or depending on the context of the sentence. Another example is the word glare in these two sentences. The glaring ray of the sun causes his eyes to twinkle, meaning glaring meaning dazzling. But if you're going to use glare in a connotative way, my teacher glared at Jess who was playing Mobile Legends in the classroom. Meaning, glared here means looked angrily. The definition or the meaning of the word glared in the second sentence is really different from how it was used in the first sentence. So again, if you're going to use a word with a denotative meaning, it means you're simply going to look or use the definition that comes from a dictionary. But if you're going to use the connotative meaning of a word, it means you will base the definition or the meaning of that word based on the situation or based on the given context in the sentence. Now, to sum up our lesson, remember that reading opens an avenue of opportunity to learn more about life and things around us. Aside from what we have learned from reading a text, it is also very important to choose the words that we use as we communicate our ideas to other people. Always choose to use positive language that promotes responsibility, equality, and freedom. To sum up the things that we've discussed in this session, we have reading and the effective reading strategies, which are getting an overview of the text, using context clues, and using connotation and denotation. Under getting an overview of the text, we can use different strategies like previewing, skimming, and scanning. If you're going to use context clues, make sure that you understand synonym, antonym, definition, and example. And if you're going to use connotation and denotation, you have to remember the difference between the two. Denotation is a definition that comes from a dictionary, and connotation is a definition or a meaning of a word that is based on the given situation or context of the sentence. That ends our lesson in techniques in selecting and organizing information. Hope you learned from this session. Follow-up activities are below, which you can also find in your weekly home learning plan or WHLP. But for your guidance, I also place it in the comment section. For further questions, you may write it down in the comment box and I will answer it as soon as possible. Thank you for listening. Bye!